So you got into your MBA program, perhaps even did a bit of prep work to have a flying start, and chances are, it might still feel like you're kind of in midair. How is it that while you're actually putting work into this, you still feel like you're struggling and other folks seem like they're cruising? Welcome to life inside the struggle bubble. For a long time, I actually wondered why it is that consultants and investment bankers, and there could be other groups, but this is just my inner dialogue, why is it that these groups coming into the MBA program seem to be more at ease and almost having fun as opposed to everyone else, the way I saw it? It wasn't that they were smarter. It's because in their capacity of someone who's trained to pick apart problems, challenges, value propositions even, to identify key elements that are relevant and which ones are not, and then to move forward with the smallest set of anything, really. The option that produces the maximum desired value with the least amount of effort or resources. This is all the MBA program is about. Do you see the trees and the forest? Focus on what's relevant. Make a recommendation, maybe or maybe not execute. Simplify your language so senior execs with little time and even less imagination get your pitch the first time, and do not get hung up on unnecessary details. Now, let's say you are not a consultant or investment banker or PE firm associate. Let's say you are someone who has been on a specific track like marketing, sourcing, sales, project management, maybe you're a coder, where you've demonstrated tremendous depth in your role and can speak to it like the expert that you are. And yet, you join the MBA program and you're struggling. But that is exactly what was meant to happen. The MBA program is a lot about mimicking real business life, although in a compressed, more controlled environment. It's about acquiring new skills and knowledge trades. More than anything, though, it's about rewiring how your brain works. Instead of thinking through problems, through prioritizing, through communicating, the way you always have, your brain now has to take this ton of new and different information and has to literally sort it in ways that it had never had to do before. What's the context? Is it important? When do I utilize it? Could it be fun? And that's when you may start to feel overwhelmed. What you do then is the worst thing you could do. You validate your feelings or impressions externally. How is everyone else doing? Am I the only one going through this? And why on earth are these people over there having such a blast, yet they've never done this before either? And because you compare yourself with others, don't clue into the context though, you feel like a loser, like one of the few who are not going to make it. That was me 3 months in. What's really happening though is that you're running into resistance, literally in your brain, with you experiencing a way of thinking, of processing like you've never done before. And that pretty much pushes you to the edge. What your brain does now, as it copes and learns what works and what doesn't, is that it builds new pathways, new ways of thinking, of understanding, of coming up with coherent, creative solutions. I'm not a neuroscientist, but I would argue that someone experiencing this struggle is getting far more out of the MBA than someone who's just cruising through it. This doesn't reflect on the knowledge acquired or even how much individuals work to do well or what they bring to class. But if you start from a vastly different point and you progress through this journey and end up with somewhat of a comparable result, think of so many non-consultants all of a sudden joining firms with their veteran consulting MBA peers. It means that the struggle you are experiencing is reflective of that distance you are covering. That's why it doesn't feel easy. That's why it looks like others are having it easy. That's why at times you feel outright dumb. But it's not your intellect that is failing you. And they didn't make a mistake when they admitted you. And it's not because you are an imposter. It's because it's working. And you're going to feel disoriented. You're going to feel vulnerable, even to the extent where you feel more like a child than a grown-up. If you're struggling, that means you're winning. Congratulations. Now, you need to see it for what it is, and you need to adapt. Perhaps you need to study differently. Perhaps you need to ask for help by studying with others and explaining concepts to each other, by really switching your attention to real-life examples, case studies where you draw the parallels to the theoretical concepts you are learning. Whatever it takes to bring the theory to life and connect with and build on your current mode of internalizing. It won't be easy, and that's okay, but you're doing it. And that's what matters.